Hey, Newbie Dan here. A couple of days ago, I needed to glue two pieces of plywood together, and I needed to make sure the result had nice straight faces. Unfortunately, the stock I had wasn't as straight as I would have liked. I needed to clamp the boards to a flat surface while the glue dried, but I don't have any surfaces that I trust to be flat enough that I don't mind getting glue on. So stick around and I'll show you what I came up with. Here's my solution, and then I'll show you some tips. I use two pieces of angle iron. I glue the boards together, then clamp them to the angle iron. The angle iron keeps the boards nice and straight, and once the glue dries, the boards stay straight. Here's the details and tips. I bought the angle iron at my local Home Depot. The last time I bought angle iron at Home Depot, it was filthy, and I ended up with dirt smudges everywhere. So this time, I brought a rag and made sure I only touched the angle iron with the rag. Before I bought the angle iron, I took it over to the section where they sell straight edges just to make sure it was straight, and it was. By the way, I first looked at aluminum angle bars, and it just seemed that the angle iron was more likely to stay straight when clamping the wood to it. You can try aluminum if you want. Let me know in the comments how that works for you. The size I bought was 1.5 inches, which ended up working really well for multiple reasons, which you'll see in a moment. I bought 48 inches worth and cut it into two 24-inch sections using an angle grinder. If I had to do it again, I'd check to see if Home Depot could cut it for me. Apparently I suck at using an angle grinder on angle iron. At least I managed not to hurt myself. Barely. Before I glued the boards, I set up the angle iron. One good reason for using 1.5-inch angle iron is that two 3/4-inch pieces of scrap wood can hold it up, so the flat edge is on the top and it doesn't tip over. I figured out how far apart they needed to be for the wood I was going to clamp, and I used a scrap piece of wood as a spacer just to keep them at the right distance apart. I did a dry run so I could make sure I had all the clamps I needed on hand. Turns out that another good reason to use 1.5-inch angle iron is that the heads of my clamps fit under the edges of the angle iron just about perfectly. The boards have a slight bow to them, so when I got ready to glue the boards together, I made sure to position them so the concave sides faced each other. I figured this way when they got clamped together, they'd kind of cancel each other out rather than reinforce the bow. I don't know if this helped or not, but it didn't hurt. I put the glue on and clamped the boards to the angle iron. I clamped the ends first, then removed the pieces of scrap wood holding up the angle iron and put on the rest of the clamps. Then I cleaned off the squeeze out. The next day, I unclamped everything and the boards are dead solid perfect. So using angle iron for gluing and clamping turned out really well, and I'll definitely use it again, assuming they'll work with whatever dimension stock I'm dealing with. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments and any other methods you might have tried for gluing and clamping to get straight boards. If you enjoyed this video and found it useful, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment, and consider subscribing to my channel. You'd be surprised how much difference a thumbs up and a comment makes. It lets me know there's people out there that I've managed to help, and that means a lot. Thanks.